All right, Dave and Troy, this is going to be fun. You're going to be our featured guest for our Father's Day special. Dave, this is your Father's Day gift right here.
Wow, it gets no better than this. I'll tell you what. When I was dadding for, I got five kids, but Troy was 27 years ago, and had I known then, man, I would have probably. I don't know what I've done different, but I'm glad to be here. Very glad, Casey, to be here.
Listen, you got five kids, so this is your one that got in the mortgage business.
I have a daughter who works for Bank of America, and we've gone back and forth for years and years and years, but she's now a mother or two, and I think it's gonna be hard to get her out of motherland right now. So yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so Troy, man, what a great Father's Day gift you get to give your dad as you get to talk a little bit about him. But why don't you tell me, prior to the mortgage industry, just a little bit about your experience and your journey to get here?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first off, I don't think anybody plans on being a loan originator when they grow up, So, it was growing up in a household of mortgages. My mother used to be in the business, but, so Dave, my father, he was always, being a young age, I never really saw, let me reverse, he did an excellent job of work-life balance. And that's, I never really thought about that until today, but it was never, you get a lot of people get sucked into this business. And so, that was nothing that, ever made a huge impact on our family, was him spending too much time away from work, not pressing us on what he's doing at work. So, being at a young age, I wasn't really too involved with his business, or didn't hear about it a lot, which I think is, good thing, bad thing, but, was an athlete growing up, so spent a lot of my summers training and being in the gym, eating a lot of food. So prior to the mortgage industry, I was in the landscaping industry, a little barrelback boy, just kind of carrying along plants and trees everywhere. But spent some summers working in the office, picking up the phones, making copies, paper pushing for people. So, it was just, it was a no pressure environment, which I think was really important. And like I said, in this business, work-life balance is sometimes really hard to do. So I had no pressure coming into this industry. And honestly, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do coming out of college. A couple of my roommates were all, business, finance majors, marketing. And so a good buddy of mine, he went to work for Quicken right off the bat. And so I was talking to my dad. I was like, you know what? I don't want to, really work for Amerifirst, kind of want to do my own thing. But I didn't really understand, the full aspect of what a loan originator was, that is your own business, just because it's, my father's company's name on it, doesn't mean everything's just going to be handed to you. So I think he about lost his marbles when I told him I was going to go work for, at a call center, no offense to any competitors, but he's looking at me like I'm crazy. And so we had a couple of conversations about it. And I said, you know what, we'll give Amerifirst a try and work for Dad's company. So it's kind of quick story of how I transitioned into it. So wasn't planning on it, and he convinced me. He said, just give it a shot, man, give it a shot. So now we're here.
Dave, that's got to make you feel really good that he looks back and doesn't feel like you were consumed with it, that you had the balance. I mean, I hope my kids don't say my mom was consumed with her business.
Yeah, well, it's when your work-life balance is a big deal to us. We've talked about that before, and it's part of our DNA as Amerifirst, and it starts with home, and the balance has to be there. And I want all of our kids to kind of, the way that Chris, my wife, and I kind of operated was, we didn't want any of the kids to be in the business unless they wanted to be. So it was kind of an unwritten, they had to ask to come into the business. We didn't want to, we certainly talk about the business and encourage that, but we wanted them to want to be in the business. We want them all to have an opportunity to spread their wings and try certain things. And we got five kids, and they're all very successful. So we've been very blessed in that arena. It was more about them than it was about the business, or certainly myself. And so making sure that they were raised comfortably, and they were raised well, and they were raised with the right values and so forth was what we were concerned with. And sometimes when you're in the middle of that battle, you kind of wonder how you're doing, but when your kids finally are out of the nest, you can sit back and you can say, hey, they succeeded in spite, no, not really. They succeeded because we did something right. And so we're really blessed that all 5 of our kids are doing what they're doing. It's fun having Troy here. I mean, how can you not want to have one of your or any of your kids working with you together? So I'm grateful and blessed at the same time.
So Troy, how long ago did you enter the industry?
Oh gosh, I got licensed in September of 2017 and closed my first loan that fall. And so chalked up one nice loan for the year of 2017. So yeah, it's been about, gosh, we're creeping this fall, be 4 years in the industry. So
all right. So tell me about what your career looked like entering the industry. So you get your license and then what?
Yeah, so got licensed, and so I grew up in the hometown of Gaylord, Michigan, where my father resides today. And so it was northern Michigan. You know, I feel it's an untapped market, you know, in terms of being able to really dominate a market. So growing up in Gaylord, you know, obviously had a huge sphere of influence there. We already, as a company, we already have an originator in that Gaylord office. And so to the west of us, the Traverse City, or city called Traverse City, absolute beautiful lakefront, you know, city, you know, big, what we love about it is there's gold in these hills, you know, so it allows us to help, you know, second homes, you know, people buying their 8th, 9th, 10th home, all the way down to, you know, $70,000 manufactured homes. So we get to help a wide variety of people. But that was an area that I think our company always wanted to get into, but we just never did. You know, we had a couple originators throughout the last, you know, 10, 15 years that kind of floated in and out, but nothing concrete. And so, you know, that was where I was really debating where I wanted to go. You know, we had a lot of friends down in Florida, you know, the southern states, and being in northern Michigan where there's the tundra from November through March, I kind of wanted to get out of there for a little bit. So long story short, you know, ended up staying in northern Michigan, located here in Traverse City. And so it was a brand new market. You know, I'm not from here. I didn't know a single soul here. So I moved over here signed my lease January 5th of 2018 on an apartment, and basically hit the ground running from there, just trying to meet as many people as possible and make some friends, honestly. So
you went into a brand new market as a rookie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to ask some big questions now. I'm going to ask Dave, what do you think his greatest mistake was? But let's let him answer first. What you learned being brand new, go back then, because I know you've learned now, right? But we all have that moment where like, I wish I had not done that. What was it?
Oh man, that's there's a lot of those. I think a lot of people have half-built bridges. You know, there's a million shiny objects out there where I think people really need to kind of nail down a handful of things, you know, 2, 3, 4 things that they're really good at, they like, you know, enjoy doing, and it earns them money. I think that was, I'm still dealing with that. I think a lot of originators and everybody has that problem with, is just chasing something, you know. Number 2, honestly, I would have loved, in retrospect, you know, and people were telling me this at the time, and I thought they were crazy, but, you know, maybe spending a year in processing, you know, maybe as a loan partner or a loan processor, you know, just to kind of get just the gist of how the process flows, you know. And so being able to understand that and everything that goes into it, I feel could make us better originators to help our team, you know, streamline the process rather than creating more work for ourselves. So, but at the time, you know, being an originator, people are saying, you know, maybe you should get into processing. I'm thinking, heck no way. I want to get out of the street. Right. Exactly. So, you know, I would say, you know, to anybody coming up in the industry who brand new market or just brand new to the business, you know, maybe spend some time in processing or you know, the front end documentation part of the process. So I would say if I could do it different, that's what I would do. But I'm not complaining where I'm at today. You know, I just think it could have set me off a little bit better. So.
All right, Dave, what about you? What do you think when in hindsight, because you've got to watch him and you can't always tell him?
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, as I look at Troy nailed it. Traverse City is probably the largest market in northern Michigan. It's a very progressive market. It's a desired location, so a lot of sophisticated buyers and so forth. I think he hit the nail on the head, but that you want to make sure they have a rounded knowledge of the business. And it's awfully difficult. We've talked before. I mean, obviously, we've talked often before that finding a good quality, most companies like ours, Casey, it's very difficult to have good, solid training. That's a luxury for companies that are mid-sized mortgage banks. It's a really difficult thing to do. And the other part is what Troy said about would have loved to have that stop in the processing or the LOA or something, loan officer assistant. But everybody's in a hurry. Everybody wants to get out and get their career started and get going. And lenders like us want to get the folks out in the field. So you know what, it is training's always going to come down to it. And you know what, we've talked about this, Casey. And I will tell you that he went through all the Zenix courses. So he went through all three of the courses to get him there. And I think without that, it's hard to tie it together, right? So that's the part. I wish that we had the platform that was really a nice training, and you can deliver them on a silver tray to a market, but that's just not the way it works anymore. So probably getting them trained better would be the thing that we need to get better at, and wish that we could have done better. But 3 years down the road, we're here and it's working.
Well, Troy, I've heard all kinds of accolades from Dad about you, by the way, privately, about how excited he is about your success and that you're doing your own thing. What do you think the most important thing you have done to get you where you are today? And then I'll ask you, Dave, from your observation, what he's doing well.
Yep.
But what do you think your numbers are amazing. You're having incredible success. You're doing your own thing. What do you think that is?
I think a big part of it is using as many resources as possible. We've got a lot of great originators in our company. I'm sure I haven't looked at Scotsman's Guide or anything like that, but I'm sure a couple of these folks are on that list, top originators. So the culture that we've built is, everybody's willing to help everybody, which I think has been amazing. And just to get different viewpoints from different folks, how to structure things, how to talk to people. That was probably number one for me. Number two for me was a lot of what Zenix taught through the schools. A lot of it is the mortgage business is hard to relate to when you have no experience in it. But when it comes to sales and marketing, I think everybody can, if you have that bone in your body, you can do it. And so for the first year I was here, it was just by myself. So I didn't have a loan partner or anything like that helping me document, process the file. So I was doing, 4 or 5 hours of face-to-face meetings outside the office. And then, from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock at night, I'm sorting through documents and processing the file. So I think just getting out and trying to meet as many people as possible, going to as many business after hours events, and just if I had a cold call, I don't do a whole lot of cold calling anymore. I've kind of found different tactics around to, connect with people, but I would probably throw up if I had to do it again, because I just did it so much in my first year and a half in the business. Because I didn't, like I said, I didn't know a soul over here. I said, screw it. We're just going to, get a list of 40 agents today, do another list of 40 agents next week, and so on and so forth. And different business owners, I would walk around. We got a really cool downtown. So I would literally just walk into these storefronts and get to know the business owners. Still do that today. I'll walk in, the owner will say, "Hey, Troy," it's just because of some of the groundwork I laid a couple of years ago, So I think, using your resources, connecting with, a lot of mentors, people that enjoy coaching you and just sharing ideas. And then at the end of the day, it's a lot of people. It's just, networking. That's really, I think that's what it did for me. It's just networking to as many folks as possible. And in Zenix, another plug, but one of the schools in there was how to market, how to sell, how to create a list, and who to target, how to target them. So I thought that was good introduction to what had to be done. So
that's excellent. Excellent. It was ground school, flight school, and officer school. I went back and looked at your grades and your performance. No, I'm just kidding. I did not. You did great. Made you nervous, but I was going to give you about your grades.
Right.
So Dave, he gets in the industry. You're observing him. Yeah, he's going to fall, make mistakes, but he's doing some things right. What did you see where you were amazed, possibly early on?
Yeah, there's no shortcut to success in the mortgage banking business, and certainly in the origination side, but there is no shortcut. When I started out, years ago, that many years ago, and how I did it, it really is no different than how it needs to be done today. There's no shortcut. It's about hard work, and the way Troy does it, it's about outworking the competition. He was that's the way he told a little bit, but he was a very, very gifted athlete. He played college football and he was gifted. He pursued the professional side and was making great strides there. And he finally said, you know what, it's hard on the body, and the long-termness of it is really, really difficult. And he made a decision to stop that and come into the mortgage business. And he was competitive from an early age. I mean, as a young kid, when I coached him and then traveled and chased around the teams he was on. He was extremely competitive, and that is something you either are or you're not. And some people that are can't take that challenge when it really is a life event that's happening. And so putting him in a market like he went into, it was I had some consternation. I had to think that through. He went into a market, and he had all the resources in the world. He had great support, but he didn't have other lead originators there to work with. And so he went over there. And what blew me away, Casey, was he understood what he needed to do. We'd had enough of those talks, but it was a stick-to-itiveness, I will not quit, knock me down, I will get up, knock me down again, I will get up again. And that is how originators, I don't care if it's in a proven market or an unproven market, his was an unproven market. If you don't have that ability to out-hustle the competition and really, really understand that and know why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to get knocked down. And if you get knocked down enough and you don't have that attitude, you might not get back up sometime, or might not stand up as tall the next time. And this young man doesn't know what second place is about. His mantra in all of football was that he had to find a way to always beat the guy across from him, outwork the guy across from him, and he lived that. And so today, it's been amazing to me to see that I wouldn't have done what he did. He did it right. That's not saying I would have done it right. I'd have succeeded. I promise you that. But that ability to just go out there and not understand the word no, or to get excited when he got a no because he knew that he was that much closer to a yes. He lived that. And you read about that and hear about that. It's like, yeah. This guy here did that. And that's why I'm so darn proud of him. And by the way, doing that and darn hitting 30 million in closings in his first real year in that market is just kind of head scratching and mind boggling.
That's incredible. So Troy, what position were you in football?
Primarily played defensive end on the defensive line. Played a little linebacker, little tight end. So, but primarily on the trenches on the D line. So I still got my fingers.
He chased quarterbacks and made their life miserable, and he did a really good
job. 50 pounds ago too, so I'm feeling better.
Feeling way better, right?
Yeah.
So, Troy, obviously you're working alongside your father. What's that like? And let me add to that. What's the best advice he ever gave you?
Oh man, guy likes listening to himself talk. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's shared a lot of great advice with me. Well, first off, working next to him is awesome. It's anytime you never ever need to throw the last name around. No, I'm just kidding too. We don't do that a lot, but it's just anybody needs to call. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. We're there to chat about it. I think my mother and his wife gets annoyed of our conversations sometimes. Because whenever we're hanging out, it always leads to some question that you go on the rabbit hole of. But it's awesome to I have a gentleman like himself, to do what he's done in this industry as, best friend, mentor, it's pretty cool. As far as advice, gosh, I mean, we were talking about this last week, about a quote he plugged on my bathroom wall in like 7th grade, just, about, you can't, maybe you give me the quote, but you can't expect success. It's kind of like, harvesting a seed. You can't expect to harvest if you don't plant the seed. And so that's kind of the mantra, in everything that we do, and especially moving over here to this market, it's same thing. It's like, if I just sit here in my office and expect a loan to come in, it's not going to come, So I would say, from a young age, that was a great piece of advice that he shared, and it translates to every aspect of life. So.
So Dave, let me ask you, what's it like working with your son?
Yeah.
And maybe let's add to that. What have you learned from him since he started in the company?
Yeah. Well, it is a different world today than it was when I was there. And I think back, I think back when I was originating, it was all pre-Dad Frank. So it was a whole different world. It was a rock and roll world. Today it's not. It's very, very regulated, very orderly, very, you really have to understand not only how to do the business today, but you have to understand why you have to do it right and what all those protocols and laws are that we have to live by today. I think that, again, it comes down to, when I think of Troy, I think of hard work, and I think of, he's a great leader, but he's also he's humbly successful. And that is that he understands where wisdom comes from. And I'm talking about me now. I'm talking about, as I look around the resources in our company, he understands it's on him. He's not looking for something to be made easier, or this is a path, or that's the path. Everything he has, he's earned. And he's fine with that. And he's not only fine with it, he's in the kidding before, he wants to plow his own field. He doesn't want to have something given to him. He wants to be able to stand, shoulder to shoulder with the best in our company and be respected for what he's earned. And he's doing that. And I will tell you, the best in our company are impressed with him. And he's the work ethic, Casey, without a doubt, as I step back and look at where he's at, he's where he's at because of what he has done and because of what he's invested in the business. So work ethic, the competitive nature, also understanding that you got to study, you got to work hard, right? I mean, it's about guidelines. It's about understanding the stuff that most originators, A, aren't good at, B, don't want to get good at it. They want to be really good at going out and creating the real, the referral partners. That he does that well, but he's also learned early on that if you can't put the pizzazz, you can't put the guidelines, you can't put the right answers, you can't put the resource so that your referral partners call you, because not only are you their friend now because you've earned that right by working hard with them, but you bring it every day. You bring the answers, you bring the service levels, you are respected and you are honored. That's how you build a business. And by gosh, as I sit back and look at the market, and remember what we said about that market, he wasn't handed a market that we were succeeding in. That market could have spit him out as fast as they pulled him in. He is now a very well-recognized lender with many relationships that I shake my head at that he's established in such a short period of time. So yeah, hard work will always beat most of the other stuff.
Troy, today's originator has more challenges than the average, with all the noise from social media coming in and all of the I see better rates, etc. What's the greatest advice you have or you believe is the key to success for today's originator?
Great question. Kind of like what I said earlier, I think there's a million different shiny objects out there, and we've all fallen victim of that. And, it's the topic of half-filled bridges, and that's looking at all the things I want to do. I've got some half-filled bridges, but what I mean by that is, maybe we want to do social media advertising, so we work on that for a little bit, and then, we see something else, so we work on that for a little bit. And so, you can get 90% completed, 99% completed, 25% completed. Nothing happens unless you finish it, you know? And so that's one thing I've done in the last year, is just kind of brought back in the pillars of business that I want to focus on. 2020, you know, obviously was that, you know, for me and what I've heard, a unicorn year. You know, I haven't been in this industry long, and so those don't come around a whole lot. And so what I've found is that we did such a great job leading up to 2020 with all the clients that we've worked with, is that they were just referring us. And so I wasn't really even working my database that hard. And so, you know, 3/4 of the way through 2020, I said, you know, I got to focus on the database, you know, because those are people who know you, like you, and trust you already. You don't need to sell them. And so for me, you know, it's what I'm getting at here is just really focusing on a couple key things, you know, and not getting distracted by all these different shiny objects. And for me, you know, kind of bringing that all in, you know, social media for me, you know, not paid advertising. That doesn't do a whole lot for a lot of people, but, you know, just sharing what you do, sharing cool stories on social media. You know, that's been a big pillar of my business. Database, of course, you know, people who know you, like you, and trust you already. And then, you know, our realtor and business referral partners, you know, people that have an impact in the community, people that are in front of buyers a lot. So if you really narrow it down to a couple different pillars, and you go all in on those pillars, you know, it's that's what I think is going to make a successful originator. There's so many distractions, like you said, you know, it's who's got the better rate, and everybody starts freaking out about rate, you know. And so I think I'm not going to be a fit for everybody, you know, and I understand that, but, you know, my job is to, you know, just create a mortgage process that is enjoyable and streamlined for those that do want to work with us. And so, you know, if you can understand that and swallow that pill, you know, that you're not going to get a yes 100% of the time. I shared a story with my dad the other week, you know, dropped everything I was doing for a gentleman, got the contract accepted because I had a great relationship with the listing agent. Guy calls me at a pinch and says, you know what, I'm switching to a different lender, you know, and you know, that was tough, you know, that's tough. And so but we weren't a good fit, you know, based on what he was looking for, and maybe he was that rate shopper that you just can't nail down. So, you know, it's those are tough to swallow. That's a big challenge, but I think just focusing on what you're good at, what you like doing, and what makes you money is I think the most important thing that any originator needs to focus on. And so I think that's what we're all trying to hit that at the end of the day. I think that's a career-long treasure hunt that we're trying to find, you know, but for me, it's just focusing on that, you know, and that's what makes this business fun. And then on top of it, having an awesome team behind me that does all the things I don't like to do, you know, so.
There are so many nuggets of powerful conversations in there. Focus on a few pillars. Yours, it sounds like, is your database, your referral source group, and you're doing some social media, but not buying, but you're promoting from a branding standpoint. Those are your three main pillars?
Yep. Right now, yeah. But that'll change, you know, it can change.
I mean, listen, when you focus, stay focused and uber focused and don't get distracted, you'll win because you'll finish. And I think the key words is like finish what you start, don't get piecemealed in the hard work. You guys, it is, you know, I have children. The question they always ask is, you know, Mom, what do you do for a living? And they can't even explain it. They try, right? They'll go, I think Mom's in mortgages. I'm like, okay, yes. My prayer for them is that they find their gifting. You just said something, right? Do what you're really good at. Find your strengths. Focus on those. You know, and build on them. And Dave, I can only imagine the pride you have having your child and your son in your company. By the way, what number are you in the realm of all the kids?
I am second from the youngest.
Second from the youngest. Gotcha. Okay. So Dave, any last thoughts that you'd like to share? And Troy, congratulations on your incredible success. You got obviously an amazing role model, but it sounds like you're doing it on your own area, which really has got to feel good, by the way, right? That you did this, that nobody handed it to you. Yeah. But you have the blessings of great parents, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Very, very honored to be where we're at. And, you know, we're excited to see where it keeps going, of course, with the help of this guy.
Yeah.
And my mother and his wife. Couldn't do it without her.
Mama gets a little credit for sure.
She has to. She has to.
Yeah, she was in the mortgage industry years and years ago. So when we talk mortgages, she jumps right in. We don't, if we get into deals, we understand we got to stop that because when we get around the table, she can swing with the best of us when we get talking. But as I was listening to him, Casey, and what I'll close on is that, this business is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the guys that aren't really understand what they have to engage in. There's no magic bullet to be successful. You really got to understand your why. And I think, and that's where I think Troy's done that. And, the first few years you're impatient. And I think the other advice I gave him, and I think I've given his manager today, also started with me 20 plus years ago. You got to give yourself a little patience. You got to give yourself time. We all want to be successful yesterday. And our business is a business that you just can't go from, yes, let's do this, to I am now a superstar. You've got to give yourself a chance to learn. That doesn't mean you can't, that doesn't mean you're not competitive. That doesn't mean you want to get out and get on it right now, but you really got to understand your why and what you do and how you do it's really important, but why you do it is really the magic, that's the magic bullet. And so that would be, and I think I've had that conversation with Troy, but I'd give it to everybody that's out there that might be listening that is in this business and maybe they're struggling a little bit or they're second guessing themselves. Don't do it. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a little bit of time. Don't think you have to get there right now. I told Troy, told his boss, give it 2 years, give it 2 years, give it 2 years. And it's amazing. If you hard work it, you get into training, you get your business foundation working and do all those things right. Let the time happen. This is like I said, there's no magic bullet, but work hard, understand why you're doing what you're doing. If you're doing it for the right reasons, the money stuff comes. The money comes. If you're doing it for the right reasons, the money will be there, no doubt. So to me, it's there. All the resources are there. The training is there. We've got opportunity in this business. Give yourself time to learn, work hard, but really understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Get your why. Troy, you want to end and share your why?
Gosh, I think that's started reading Simon Sinek's book the other day, a couple of months ago, and that's always a book I always come back to. I think for me, my preliminary why, I think it's something we're always chasing, but really like helping people. I know finding your why is a very specific point of view, and how you live your life. When it comes to business, I just thoroughly enjoy helping people, and making them happy. And I think in this business and how our business model is structured really allows us to do that, we do a lot of government lending. And so everybody knows government lending, these are tougher to do loans, people with a little tougher situations. And so, solving those problems, and, a lot of these people get no's from 8 different lenders, and then we're the last lender they call. We're figuring out how to get it done for them, or at least if we can't get it done, we're showing them how to get it done, whether it's 6-12 months down the road. So for me right now, that's my why, and why I come into this office and work every day is to just help people, put a smile on their face, and I get a fulfillment out of that. Made somebody happy, made their day better, whatever it may be. So ask me a year from now, it'll probably be even more targeted, but for now, that's what makes it fun. It makes it very enjoyable and fulfilling. So
great advice from a father and son. Find your why, lean in. I love the 2-year mark, Dave. I was told that by my sister, who said, 2 years whenever you're in sales before it's going to hit.
Yep.
Don't be impatient.
Yep.
And I was so close to quitting at my 2-year mark, but because I had that little voice in my head, said 2 years, and sure enough, man, 2 years, bam.
Yeah.
So anybody who's struggling and you're doing what I call a start over, like you've heard this interview and you're like, have I been working hard? Am I focused? Am I distracted? Do I have 3 pillars? 2, just 2 pillars.
Right.
And if you aren't focused and finishing, start over and give yourself 2 hard years of outworking. I heard you say, Dave, and I couldn't agree more, outworking the competition, and you will win. But that mindset's great advice from both of you. So thank you for your time today, and happy Father's Day, Dave.
Thanks, Casey. Always a
Happy
pleasure.
Father's Day.
What a beautiful young man. I'm going to say young because I'm a little older than you, Troy, but what a wonderful young man that you have raised. And Troy, you're really blessed to have an amazing father. I lost mine very early. And so God bless you.
Yeah. Thank you, Casey.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Thanks.
See ya.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Woo, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Well, that's meaningful.
What a fine young man you have.
I'll tell you what, I watch him and I just shake my head. It is because he really is that guy. He is so transparent. And he had wild success with his athletics, and I really thought.
Where did he play? What school?
He played at a smaller college, Elma College in Michigan, and he went there to play basketball. And his knees, he had tendonitis in both knees. So his freshman year, they sat him for 9 months. Met with the surgeon and all that, and finally it was like, it's not going to work. And the football coach said, "Have you thought about playing football before?" Because he was a better football player than basketball player.
Wait a minute, his knees don't work in basketball, so they put him in football?
Not a problem in football. Not a problem because of the way it works in football. And he was most valuable player in his conference. I mean, when I say he was good, he was better than good. This guy was invited to. He had 3 NFL teams invite him to try out. So I mean, he was from a small Division III school to on the big stage, and he would have made it. But we drove back from his last. It was a 5-month process that we committed to before he committed to this business. We drove back from a tryout in Chicago, and he did very well at it. And he was one of 200 guys. He was one of 6 guys that got pulled aside and said, "All right, here's what we're going to do. It's still a big path, but driving back." And I was feeling like, yeah. And he was kind of quiet. And finally he said, "I'm done." And I was like, "What do you mean you're done? I mean, dude, that was awesome what happened there." He goes, "You know what? I've learned that I am a injury away from being insignificant, and my body won't take it much longer." And he was a 21-year-old kid, or a 22-year-old kid at the time. And so to me, it was kind of like I gulped hard, and we talked more, and he got home, and it was like he changed the plan. He started here, enrolled with Zinix, and the rest is history. And no looking back. And it was that deal that one of the reasons that my wife and I said, "You got to do this," is because we didn't want him to ever have that regret. I wonder what would have happened. What if maybe I could have. And he answered the questions. And the answers were, yes, I can compete on that stage. And knowing that and saying, I'm going to go out on my terms, healthy, and move along. And it won't be long. And he'll be able to say, and I say this quietly only with my wife, he'll be able to say when he talks to a professional athlete, "I almost did that, but I couldn't afford the pay cut." So we'll see how that.
I know he went off camera and we're behind the scenes when the recording's off, but maybe we can play this as part of it so he can hear him talk.
Yeah.
Hear you say how proud you are of him. Because that had to be a big moment in his life, and a decision that he's like, but his resolve was like, I'm done. And that wisdom that he had early, I'm only 1 injury away.
Yeah.
And praise God, because look at him. I mean, what an amazing young man. Be incredibly proud.
And as a parent, we had the opportunity to witness a gruesome injury that he got his junior year. I mean, he was captain. I mean, he was a guy, and he was playing at Albion College, and he fell back, and he fell back on his arm, and a guy came in and hyperextended his elbow. I mean, it was gruesome. Ambulance in the field, completely morphined up on the field. I mean, my wife's doing that, and I mean, it's one of those that you just, you're running out in the field, and I'm going, get up, and he get up. So it gets emotional. It does get emotional because it's like you're wondering what's going on. But anyway, we get to the hospital, and 5 hours later, he's had procedure and all that done, and so he's done for the year that year. And so he played a year with a brace on his arm. He understood what that was all about, and so he had a little bit of that in the background. Not fear. There was no fear. The guy didn't understand fear, but he understood reality. And I think when he was in the playing against the guys that we watched on Saturdays on TV at college. That's who he's playing against in these camps and kicking their butts. It was pretty impressive. But for him to say, I'm done on his own, it was like, it was better than us saying, you know what, why don't we move on? It was, that wasn't it. It was him saying, I'm done. I'm fulfilled in that. I know my answer, and let's move on. And so it was really cool to see.
God bless. Thank you for sharing that. Happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for what you do. And this is fun. This was a lot of fun and meaningful. I appreciate the opportunity. It was really cool for this old man to hang out with his kid and listen to him.
Yeah. Yeah. He loves his dad. You can tell.
Well, we get along pretty good. We're blessed. I'm blessed with 5 kids of that exact same relationship. So it's you can't, normally you don't get that, but I just got a text from him and it says, Dad, that was awesome. So
wait till he sees our small little gift at the end. God bless you. And thank you again for your time.
God bless you, Casey. Thanks a lot. Take care. Alrighty. Bye-bye.